Just before we went into that last break, Danny, news came through. Mesut Ozil, a great talent, whatever way you look at it, has retired from football. He's just announced it. He says, it's been an amazing journey filled with unforgettable moments. I want to thank my clubs. And when you look at them, Danny, you forget who he's played for. Schalke, Werder Bremen, Real Madrid, Arsenal, Fenerbahce and Başakşehir. So he's been about and he's done his bit. How would you sum up his contribution? Because a lot of people will still look at Ozil and think, unfulfilled career.
Oh, no chance. He's had success at Madrid, Arsenal and international stage. He's been a phenomenal talent. Somebody people will remember watching play is the biggest compliment. Some of the things he did on the football pitch. Genius. So really intelligent, creative, skillful.
And a World Cup winner.
Yeah, and people near the end of Arsenal sometimes talking about his work ethic and his work rate, but you always get that with the creative players. He can be very proud of what he's achieved in his career. Can look back with enormous satisfaction. Even the time at Madrid, we had a successful with Mourinho.
Yeah,
he was part of a really good side there. They ended up winning the league. He's done it on the biggest stage. What more can you do?
Well, he has. I mean, when you look at his record, Simon, whatever anybody thinks of Mesut Ozil, he can always say that he was a man who most chances created in a single top 5 European League season, most chances created in a single Premier League game, most chances created in 90 minutes in the Champions League.
Forget all those. It's the trophies he's won.
He's the king of the assist, isn't he? Unselfish.
Yeah. I also think that there's an element of people that will look back and, as Danny's pointed out, and look at the things that he didn't do, because that's what we're all guilty of. We take the things that people do as a given and for granted, and then we consequence them for things they don't do. But I also think that's right as well, because he was in such a wonderful position. He engineered a situation for himself at Arsenal, and he was one of the root causes of the slight unwinding over Arsenal over a period of time when the Wenger transition to the new ownership, and Mesut Özil was the poster boy for everything that was going wrong at Arsenal. He was cheating his way through a big contract. He wasn't doing the job that he was brought in to do, or more to the point, rewarded to do, and ultimately he was taken out as a result of people consistently and persistently, both Arsenal people and people in the media that had no particular affiliation with Arsenal, saying this is simply not good enough. And he embodied everything that the culture of Arsenal was currently at that time in the transition between Wenger falling out of favour and the new ownership models, new management models coming in. And then he's gone over, and this poor little victim scenario of how everyone picks up on him and how he was caused, getting himself involved with politicians and people pulling him about the company he was keeping, and it was always poor Mesut Ozil, and he's landed in his home country and he's done the same thing over there. Yeah. He's flattered to deceive. Yeah. So, if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, in the end it will be a duck.
Yeah. I mean, and that's where this view comes from, Danny. That
it comes from small-minded people.
Nonsense off the pitch and should have concentrated in his own game.
It's small-mindedness from the cynical few who don't understand the longevity of his career. And for the majority of it, he was massively successful and one of the top players in Europe.
But you can't escape, and I must be in the small-minded gang.
You can escape 2 poor seasons.
Well, there were 2 very important poor seasons, and they were on the back of this ridiculously economically charged opportunity that he was given. And you can't deflect away from it. Yes, we can all live in the past. We can all dine out on what we've done. But you can't carry that forever. There should be respect for it. And then on the flip side
we're doing an overview of his career.
We're talking about 2 or 3 years at Arsenal.
2
years at Arsenal. People were going
2, and not all of it was him. There was a time where that team was struggling. He couldn't carry it on his own. And the fact is, he'd carried it for a long time.
I remember watching, and again, you might be right to say this is small-minded of me, but I remember watching Arsenal getting absolutely smashed at Palace once. I think Allardyce was the manager, and it was during the time when Allardyce was recovering the ground for Palace to get away from relegation, and Arsenal didn't turn up, and he was the poster boy for everything bad about Arsenal. And so he became this toxic influence in the dressing room. He also became this influence that was using his social media to pour scorn on certain things about the football club and other aspects of circumstances in society. And then he's got his move, he's orchestrated, they got him out, they paid him up, got him out the door, let him go somewhere else, and he stunk it out there too. In a place where he's got no excuses because everyone loves him.
I think in your last couple of seasons of a career in a playing at a level a bit below.
Is that what you said to the Blackburn fans?
I haven't finished. Okay. You're asking me what I said without letting me finish. Okay. Bizarre.
I was getting it, sorry.
You can accept that somebody nearing the end of their career playing at a level they're not below that they're used to might fail. That's okay, but that's not a reason to judge his whole career on that. So therefore, in terms of Mesut Özil, by the way, let's just say something else. Although he did have a couple of bad seasons at the end of his Arsenal time where he was pulled out the firing line and didn't actually have the chance on the pitch, especially in the last season, to show what he could do. He stayed. He stayed and signed a contract with the club when he could have left. Sanchez was the one that went and wrong.
No.
Sanchez left for more dough.
Hold on, you. No one is criticising him for his performances prior to his contract. Everybody went over the top. The moment he got that ridiculous contract, and everyone went, you repay people by what? Going on the missing list. And then he became very divisive, and he made observations, pointed and slightly underhand about what was going on, what he was subject to, and why he shouldn't be subject to it. So he brought the wrath of people upon him.
There's no doubt, Danny, that many Arsenal fans will think, he's got to regret a few things that he did, though. And I'm just looking at some of the messages.
It would be a bizarre career and life journey if you ended your career of any industry and thinking you didn't have some regrets and some mistakes made along the way.
There's Jack, the Arsenal fan. Jim, tell Danny, Ozil had a great 6-month spell at Arsenal in 2015-16, but then left Arsenal fans repeatedly wanting more. Give me Santi Cazorla over Ozil any day of the week.
So he had a good 6 months in 8 seasons, did he? Well, I'm looking.
Well, he's an Arsenal fan.
Well, I'm looking at all the stats of goals and assists in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons. Half a season, 6 seasons. He means not 6 months.
Tell us the stats, Dan. Tell us. We're all ears. Are they good stats, and what do they?
Well, he's playing every game, more or less,
right.
And his goals are. Jim's told you about the king of the assists. He's up there in the best Premier League assists for the time he was there, if not top. 7.
How have you been?
7.
All right.
Nice to see you.
Interesting
again.
time in Scotland on the weekend, wasn't it?
I enjoyed that with you, actually. Sorry, Danny's just doing
What do you want me
something.
to do? Have the stats ingrained in my
Sorry.
mind?
You're defending the indefensible.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm giving you an
There's
opinion on
2
what
or
I
3
think
years
he
of his
was.
career.
2 years at Arsenal.
What you want to do is allow people to thrive on what they've done, and they need to be able to survive on what they do. And
if you play 20 years and you have 4 bad ones, well, 3 bad ones, that's all right.
It depends if those 3 bad ones when you're getting paid the most.
Oh, you're basing on finance.
Well, it's a big part of it, isn't it?
Is it?
The reward.
You're basing people's. You're telling me you're basing people's
rewards.
performance on when they're earning and when they're
The
not.
rewards.
So you can play badly when you're earning less.
So the rewards for your achievements are that you get a big contract to continue to achieve, and you do the polar opposite.
Yeah.
You have to be accountable for that, surely, don't
But
you?
they awarded him that contract, Sam.
Yes, and his payback for that was to do precisely nothing to continue earning it.
But you're suggesting that the moment he signed a new contract, he started playing badly. You're not talking about facts. You're talking about this vague memory you've got of when he signed it, when his form fell off.
The only thing vague was the recanting of figures that you were desperately trying to come through.
Well, sorry, do you have figures ingrained in your...
I do.
I'm sure you don't.
I do.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.